Hi folks, HR Funk here, out on the range today on a dark and dreary day to bring you the next installment in my series on Law Enforcement Qualification Course Challenge videos. Today's course comes to us from the great state of North Carolina, and interestingly, North Carolina does not have a state-mandated qualification course. Instead, what they have is a set of criteria, and local firearms instructors are supposed to use that criteria if they want to develop their own course, or the state has several suggested courses that the instructors can use that meet all of the specified criteria. For the sake of simplicity, I chose the latter course, and I'm using one of the suggested courses for this video today. This particular course is divided into 4 stages, and each stage is fired at a different distance from the target. The course starts as close as 3 yards from the target, and through the progression of stages moves back to a distance ultimately of 25 yards from the target. There is a different drill, or in some cases drills, that take place at each distance, and just as I've done before, I'll explain what that drill is going to be before I shoot it so you know what you're about to see. I'm again going to be using my shot timer to make sure I get in under all the time limits, and we'll see at the end how I do. For today's video and today's challenge, I'm going to be using my 4-inch Smith & Wesson Model 625. And the ammunition I'm going to be firing is Winchester White Box 230 grain full metal jacket ammunition, so it is full power ammunition that I'm going to be using with the 625. So let's get on with it and see how it does. And here we go, folks. And just to make it interesting, it's starting to rain. What I'm going to do is start my first stage of this North Carolina qualification course at a distance of 3 yards from the target. From here, on the signal to fire, I have to draw and strong hand only fire 2 shots into the target in a time limit of 2 seconds. So this is a very good time limit, or a very close time limit, that I have to make in order to get both of these shots off in time. I hold on target and then return my revolver to the holster and then repeat the drill. I actually repeat it twice, so I'll do it all together 3 times for a total of 6 rounds. And I'm off to a good start. All my shots are in the preferred area. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention in the intro is North Carolina allows the instructor to choose what target they're going to use. So that made it easy for me. I'm able to use these old Ohio targets that I have on hand, and all my shots are inside of this preferred area, so they all count as good hits. And all of those shots were off within the time limits. In case you're curious, my times for those shots were 1.57 seconds for the first 2, and 1.27 seconds for both of the second 2 pairs of shots that I fired. And on to the next drill. This drill is actually broken down into 3 parts. On the first signal to fire, I draw and fire 3 shots into the target in a time limit of 5 seconds. Then, while I'm holding on target, I'll get another signal to fire, and I have to fire 2 more shots into the target in a time limit of 3 seconds. Then, on the third signal to fire, I fire 1 round into the target, perform a mandatory reload, and then fire 2 rounds weak hand only into the target, all in a time limit of 15 seconds. Now I will have to stop in between each part to reset my timer, so I have the proper time limit on there when I begin that particular part of the drill. But you'll see each segment as I go, and we'll see how I do on this one. And in case you missed it, I made a mistake on that last drill. I accidentally shot my final 2 shots two-handed, and it was supposed to be weak hand only. So I'll shoot it again and do it the right way this time. And I'm now set up for the next stage of this North Carolina Law Enforcement Handgun Qualification course. This stage takes place from a distance of 7 yards from the target, and I again have a mandatory reload. This time, on the signal to fire, I draw and fire 6 rounds into the target, then perform a mandatory reload and fire 6 more rounds into the target. Revolvers have a time limit of 25 seconds for this drill, and semi-autos have a time limit of 20 seconds. I'm going to try to make it within the 20-second semi-auto time limit and see how I do. And for the next stage, I've now moved back to a distance of 15 yards from the target. From here, on the signal to fire, I draw and fire 6 rounds into the target, again perform a mandatory reload and take a kneeling position, and from the kneeling position I fire 6 more rounds into the target. Now again, revolver shooters, according to the course description, are supposed to get a 35-second time limit for this particular drill. Semi-auto shooters get a time limit of 30 seconds. I'm again going to try to make it in the semi-auto time limit of 30 seconds, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to do it. And I don't know if you caught it on that stage, but I had a slight malfunction, or at least something that didn't work quite right. For some of these stages, I'm using half moon clips because it's a little easier to get the cartridges in and out than it is with the full moon clips. And on that stage, when I ejected my half moon clip, it stuck under the extractor just like that, and I had to get it cleared out of there in order to be able to reload and finish firing the stage. Now, I kept cool, I got it cleared, got back up on target, and got all my shots off in the semi-auto time limit, and all my shots were good. So if you have something happen on a qualification course like that, stay cool, do what you need to, think about what you're doing, and get back in the fight. Last stage of the course, folks. This takes place from a distance of 25 yards, and it requires shooting from behind a barricade. In this stage, on the signal to fire, I take a position of cover behind the barricade and I fire 6 rounds from a prone barricade position. Then I stand up and fire 6 more rounds from a standing barricade position. Time limit for this stage is 60 seconds, and I hope I get it done quickly because the rain is picking up. And the tail of the target is pretty simple on this one, folks. That's 50 shots down range, 50 shots all within the preferred area of the target, and a score of 100% on this North Carolina Law Enforcement Handgun Qualification course with my Challenger, my Smith & Wesson Model 625. And there you go, folks. Kind of a soggy Law Enforcement Qualification Course Challenge video today, but a Law Enforcement Qualification Challenge video all the same. And when I end up with a perfect score, I can't complain too much. Now, as many of you know, my goal with these videos is to shoot a law enforcement qualification course from each of the 50 states. And now that I can put a check mark next to North Carolina, I have 46 more to go. I have several course descriptions already that I'm reviewing, and I'll be bringing you those videos soon. But if you have access to your state's law enforcement qualification courses, and you can send those to me, I would appreciate it. As I've said in the past, if you can include a target or two, hit me in the comments section and I'll let you know where to mail those. And it doesn't matter if you are currently a law enforcement officer or a firearms instructor, or if you're just someone who knows where to find those courses and you can get them to me, that's great. In any regard, that's the video for today. And like I said, I now have a check mark next to North Carolina, and I'll be moving on from here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, as always, be sure you forward those to me. And until next time, good shooting. Bye-bye.